Yo.
Okay. I don't know what this just did.
What'd they do?
Oh, TikTok's trying to do some weird shit over top of my meeting. Like Google Meet, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. I'm going to go ahead and make sure my YouTube is crack-lacking. The live is up. Looks good. It looks good with the back-to-back champions banner as the placeholder. I love it. Getting ready to rock and roll. We have the chat. Hello, chat. If anybody's in there yet, come on, people. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Share this with my X account. That's definitely making noise, my phone. Alrighty. This little ass phone and I have to wait till I start the show to do it.
Yeah, there's nothing before that.
No, there's no way to send it with this is the dead end.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
It's supposed to send it automatically through the show, but it never does. It just announces the show and then it doesn't show. Hey, Cole Keller, what's going on, sir?
Cool.
Go live in a second here, Cole. To the Super Bowl. Again. Question mark. Next, we're gonna go live in 3, 2, 1. Let's go live. What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? How are you, Hong Forrest, my guest for the show tonight?
I am doing really well. How are you? Long time no see.
I'm doing all right. I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling good. We're back in it. The road to the Super Bowl runs through Arrowhead once again. The Arrowhead International has returned after a 1-year hiatus where the Chiefs had to take their merry band of travelers and go on the road and whoop the Bills and whoop the Ravens and show everyone, yes, in fact, they can win on the road. They're so actually good at winning on the road right now, Hong. They're on like an 11-game win streak. At home, actually. At home, their home field advantage has returned. Are you excited about that? Do you think that matters? Did you realize that they haven't lost a home game since they lost Christmas and a half ago to the vaunted silver and black at the time, having their one big night of fun when we shot ourselves in the foot multiple times. Since then, the Chiefs are undefeated at Arrowhead. I'm stoked about it. What about you?
I am very excited about it. It's pretty amazing to be able to have it run through Arrowhead and to have that year after year after year after year.
Right.
It's a pretty big deal, and I think it's really, really special, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm really soaking it in, enjoying the moment, and really excited for our team as everybody's preparing and getting ready for this next step ahead.
As many outlets, many stations, many pundits have stated, the ceiling for the Chiefs is win the Super Bowl. The floor is the AFC Championship game. Make the AFC Championship game. Until last year, it was host the AFC Championship game, which was some pretty sweet bragging rights, I got to say. But the thing I love that people aren't talking about enough, I don't think, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes also has 3 Super Bowl MVPs. And Patrick Mahomes also has just 3 total playoff losses. How insane is that when he's been the starter since 2018?
It's really insane.
His playoff losses, folks: AFC Championship to Tom Brady, Super Bowl, Tom Brady, AFC Championship to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And that is all.
That's it.
That is all. It's crazy. This is Madden. And there's never been anybody like this. There's never been any team like this. There's never been any collection of guys who won't win Coach of the Year, who won't win Executive of the Year. People talk a lot about the Detroit Lions and their injuries and their losses this season of players. And it's true. Every team has attrition. They had a lot. Chiefs had a lot of people go down, huh? Can you
Oh, yeah.
expand on it? Can you talk about it a little bit? I mean, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when I hear people talk about other teams losing players. I'm like, we had no receivers. We were supposed to have the best receiving core in the world. We had no receivers for
Right.
like a minute. We had one rookie
Oh,
and a
yeah.
bunch of guys. You know?
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of it too. It's like we've had this season where in the regular season it was like a little lackluster, if you will, for most people
Right.
watching, wondering like, "Oh, you guys are supposed to be so amazing this year." But yeah, our star receivers were out from week one, so we had a lot against us. Things didn't look quite as people were expecting it to look, and yet we know that when we go into playoffs time that it's really really special. It's playoffs Patrick, and things look a lot different.
Yes.
So despite injuries, we found a way to just overcome week after week after week, and that's what good teams do. No matter how close the games are, they find a way to win, and that's what the difference is between the good teams and the not so good teams. Is if you're not so good, you end up losing those games, and we found a way to win those games. And I don't want to hear any thing from the pundits about, oh, the refs were on your side.
Oh, we'll be talking about that. I got some deets on that. Down a
Okay,
bunch of
good.
receivers. What do we do? Down a bunch of receivers. Oh, I don't know. Let's just lose like 4 or 5 tight ends during the season. Oh, you know what? Let's lose Pacheco for like a bunch of weeks. Let's do that. Like, let's have
Yeah.
swinging gates at the tackles where we don't have steady protection in the pocket. What does Brett Veach do? You know what? That Kareem Hunt guy's on the street. He's pretty good. Let's bring him back.
Yep.
You know
Let's bring
what?
him
The
back.
DeAndre Hopkins guy's never won a ring. Let's bring him back.
Let's bring him over.
The doctor's like, hey, we got one for you. How about Hollywood Brown comes back for the playoffs? I'm like, dude, everything I talked about earlier in the season, I think we talked about it. I definitely mentioned it with other guests and myself. This team, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was looking at the trajectory and the way things are going, and to talk about Hollywood Brown sending out little hourglass tweets. That's usually means he's on the way back. I said they could round into shape with DeAndre Hopkins getting more mustard as a Chiefs receiver, with Xavier Worthy having more experience, with Hollywood Brown coming back, with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and Carson Steele on the fourth and shorts. This could be a different offensive team than people have seen all year. And Noah Gray's like, hold my beer. I think I'm going to become a solid number 2 tight end now, just because I feel like it. And Joe Tooney's like, you got that one? How about this? Hold my beer stein. I'm going to go play left tackle and kick people's ass. I'm like, this team, this is the antithesis. And I hope it doesn't all come undone this weekend. I don't want to jinx us. This is the antithesis. Oh, don't forget kickers. We had walk-off field goals in 3 separate games by 3 separate kickers. The team that had 20 years of woeful kicking and just couldn't get it right. We've had 3 different guys have walk-off kicks, not to mention the doink for the division, not to mention blocked 2 field goals, one in the regular season, one in the playoffs. Leo Chenal, thank you, and thank you again, sir.
Yes.
3 sacks. I was going to wear his jersey. I totally forgot. George Karlaftis. I promise, win this weekend and I'll wear it. Actually,
yeah, how many more sacks does
he
he have to get for you to wear it, huh?
I've worn it on the show multiple times, actually. And I wore it last year for the Super Bowl. 3 sacks in one game. We're going to talk about sacks, too, because the Chiefs were much maligned about not taking the football away and not sacking people all season. We also lost Jalen Watson earlier in the season. He was a key contributor against Maui Bro Cowboys in the house, not against Maui Bro, against the Baltimore Ravens, who people were projecting to play against us. Oh, sorry, this just in. They're not, because the Bills took care of that chip. And I don't know if you saw any of that game, Hong. They whooped on each other a lot. Go ahead.
Nope. I was just going to say I didn't get to sit and watch that game in its entirety, but I was quite shocked. I did not expect that performance to look like they did. The score indicates one thing, the game is a different story, right? So we know how those games go.
The first half, Derrick Henry was like Derrick Henry versus the Chiefs in the playoffs. He was getting thumped. And then he started like getting some momentum going, and then they started making mistakes, and Lamar turned the ball over multiple times, as the why everybody wants to make him the MVP every year player does tend to do, turns the ball over in crucial moments. Just saying. It's like, if it's not one thing or it's another. Oh, last year I was too light, I was getting beat up. This year I'm faster. Or no, last year he was too heavy. He was too slow, he said. I'm like, yeah, he looked real slow last year. This game aside, forget the fact that the Bills beat them. I'm all Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, give him the MVP every year, give Andy head coach of the year every year. I would love that. Okay. I played semi-pro ball, and to the winners went the spoils. When you won the division, when you won the championships, the big trophies tended to go to your team, to your coach, to some skills player on your team usually got maybe one of the defensive. There might have been a defensive player of the year somewhere out there in the league who just had like crazy numbers, but his team sucked, and he might just sneak up and grab the DPOY. But generally, the big awards went to the championship team. It wasn't a bunch of, here's a 12th place ribbon for you guys. I know you guys didn't get where you wanted to go, but we're going to let your quarterback be the most valuable player. For my money, since we got to forget about our players, they're just not allowed. They're not allowed to win. It's decided. The league said no more chief stuff like that. We just got to take our trophies. My vote, and I'd like to hear your thoughts, and I'll give you a reason why real quickly. Josh Allen. Every game I watched, that dude, as much as they say, oh, Josh Allen puts Superman cape on, that dude put the cape on a lot this year. And he didn't have his two top wide receivers. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson, the other big case, because they never want to give it to anybody but quarterbacks. The other big case was Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was added Derrick Henry. Josh Allen lost his top two wide receivers. Josh Allen's receivers yards, like the passing yards, went down a good chunk. Rushing yards stayed almost the same. Ravens, receiving yards or passing yards went up. Rushing yards went up a lot. Okay. Guess who won more games in the regular season, Honk Forest? I'll give you a hint. He wears number 17. He's got 17. A blue jersey.
Blue, white, red.
His skin's white. He's probably because he's freezing cold because he's in Buffalo. Oh, I gave it away. Sorry, it's Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Like, I'm sorry, but there's no Derrick Henry in that backfield with him. And he made James White look like the second coming of Emmitt Smith. Like, and James White's a good player. He's a nice player. He's not Derrick Henry. And none of his wide receivers were Zay Flowers. And he's got some good tight ends, but Mark Andrews was the bomb. Mark Andrews, I feel horrible for Mark Andrews. Here's the thing, folks. And it's not a tight end making an excuse for tight ends. It's a friggin' fact, especially on cold ground. But when your quarterback, who normally zips the ball into you, noodle arms this slow little fluffer nutter pass as you're going backwards and you can't stop because of gravity. Then add to that, it's icy and you try to grab the ball. You're so off. Your equilibrium is so off. I had 3 drops in like 10 years of playing semi-pro ball and my flag ball that I should have caught, normally would have caught. And 2 of them were passes like that. And one of them, it was a pass like that for a first down. It was 2nd and 7. And the quarterback did this weird, like, limp pass. And I'm like, wait, you're literally going, come on, get to me, ball. I'm falling backwards. Didn't happen. Quarterback's like, oh, don't worry, DJ. Okay, I'll get back to you. We moved down the field a little bit. I'm like I'm kicking myself. I got just a decoy route. I'm going across the back of the end zone, 20 yards from the line of scrimmage. I streaked down, I cut across, and yes, I used to streak. Not naked, just fast. I get down the field, I make my hard cut to the right, DB goes the wrong way, I fake him out, and the other guys are covered. Quarterback sees me, he's getting pressured, just throws a frozen rope right down the middle of the field, and I leap and dive sideways, and one-handed with my left hand turn, land in the end zone, and the quarterback goes, geez, DJ, you catch that one. But that other one earlier, I go, Mark, you don't understand. That's not a hard pass to catch. When you dart it in there and it just hits my hand and I'm a good receiver, I want those. I want those all day. I want you to slap it right in my hand so the DBs have no time, no chance to react. This little fluffer ball thing I got to wait on, and I'm wondering, am I going to get hit? Your brain starts like thinking about everything that's going on around you. So my heart goes out to Mark Andrews because that sucked. Because that dude, and the fumble, he hadn't fumbled since 2019, Hong. And as much as I love the greatest, and I will say it, the greatest tight end ever, used to be Tony Gonzalez, is now Travis Kelce. As much as I love Travis fumbles a big one every year. Does he not? Does he not have one fumble in a big game?
Yes, he
usually
does.
Costs us. We're usually up, and we're going down to make the score even wider, and he loses it, and then we lose that game and win the Super Bowl that last 2 years. Anyway, I feel bad. My heart goes out to Mark Andrews. My point was the Bills don't have a Mark Andrews, okay? Those tight ends are really good. Mark Andrews is a little. Dalton Kincaid might get there. Dawson Knox is really solid. Mark Andrews is a little different. And didn't matter. That defense was like, no, we're not good. We're not having that. They lost Taylor Rapp. Didn't matter. We're not having that. He says, "Oh, Mariucci said," and I want to share this with you too. Mariucci said, "Oh well, let me see." He goes, "I don't know." They're talking about the bill. If again, everybody. This is the thing. The Bills fans must have been hurt. The players definitely had bulletin board material. Not that you need it at this point, but they were talking about, if the Ravens face the Chiefs, they were saying a lot of that on NFL Network going into the weekend because a lot of people were, the narrative was they didn't think the Bills were going to hang. They said, well, the Ravens beat the Bills, right? And everybody goes, yeah, Steve. Yeah, Steve goes, and then look, they're acting like they don't know, like they don't remember, like they don't have a producer talking in their ear. And then I love watching bad actors trying to pull up. And then the Bills beat the Chiefs, right? He goes, so I got to think if it ends up being Ravens, Chiefs, and they're like, I see where you're going. It's probably gonna be the Ravens. And I'm sitting there going, the Chiefs beat the freaking Ravens, though, dude. Your own logic screws it right there. What are you talking about? First of all, secondly, we beat the Ravens. Xavier Worthy that was his first game. First game. We didn't have Kareem Hunt. We didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. We didn't have Hollywood Brown. We didn't have Charles Omenihu, who has made a big difference, folks. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of those sacks should have a little A next to them for an assist to Charles just creating havoc. Ask Chris Jones, ask George Karlaftis, how big of a difference is it to have Charles Omenihu back? Huge. It's like you work on commission, right? Big mistake. Huge underestimating Charles Omenihu. That's a little, you know what that is, right?
I love that reference.
What's that movie? What's that movie? There you go. She knows.
Pretty Woman.
She gets it. The movie I watched the year we beat the Eagles. I watched it on game day while everybody else was watching pregame crap for 3 hours. I sat in my hotel room, had a couple of shots, and watched Pretty Woman. It was just like, this is just a good movie, man. This is just a good movie. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's Super Bowl Sunday. Anyway, I digress. What are your thoughts on I've said a lot. What are your thoughts on the MVP stuff, on all that stuff? We'll get on to our game stuff in a minute.
You know what? They have kind of pushed our quarterback aside for all season long now. And you know what? That's fine. If they want him to focus on other things like the big game ahead, that's absolutely fine. But it's just kind of sad, that even without as much of a performance as they wanted out of him this season. But I think that's always going to go back to that. They want more and more from Patrick, but not the same level as other quarterbacks, of course. So as Josh deserved to be in it? Absolutely. Even Lamar, I've always been a big fan of him, and I think that he does really special things in the games as well. But to leave Patrick out of that contention whatsoever, it always feels like a slight.
This is statistically Lamar's best season. It's not close. This is his best. He literally, he more deserves it now than he did the other two times. And one of the other two times he did not deserve it at all. And it was just let's give him that one. That's kind of a big thing to give away. That's the next best thing from getting there to the big show. But okay. Anyway, it's down to these teams. Were you surprised? Rhetorical question. That the Commanders beat the Detroit Lions by a chunk.
Very. I was very surprised. I think that the Commanders have something really incredible and special. Jaden Daniels has really, really shined this year. Shown this year. And if he doesn't get Rookie of the Year, I will be very, very shocked. So I hope that he does. But I am very surprised. I think that the Lions had every opportunity, everything there. Everything was in place. And I don't know what it was, but they did not look like the team that was going into with the desire to want to win it. So there was definitely something there. I know some people were like, oh, they had too much time off. They weren't well prepared. They weren't this, they weren't that. So I'm not sure what it was, but the Commanders were really hungry and they went in there and they did their part. And I'm really excited for them. It's kind of a cool story to have, as we know, because, they're going on 31 years without this level of play. So this is huge. Yeah, huge. So I'm excited for them because of that underdog Cinderella story for them. But yeah, that was a big shocker, that game.
First of all, a proclamation to make. With the understatement of the century, Hong Forest comes in with Jaden Daniels is something special. Dude is a rock star. Dude is Lamar Jackson with Patrick Mahomes ice water in his veins in his first season. Yeah. I'm like, He's
And
fun to watch.
his
He's
level
yeah.
of study, like the things that he does to prepare himself for the game, the way he takes advantage of technology and using that to prepare himself for the game,
VR, yeah.
I think it's yes, I think it's so wise. I think it's smart. I'm all for technology and adapting and utilizing, what we have in front of us, of course. And I think that he's definitely an example of somebody who's done that. I think you and I both know that visualizing it in our mind, acting like we've been there, feeling like we've been there before does a big part in when we actually perform and when we actually do. And the fact that he is taking so many reps using VR and using technology and preparing himself, it just goes to show that he is really, really setting himself apart.
From those of you that might not know, what we're referring to is Jaden Daniels actually since college has used VR equipment to like go through mental reps. And I mean, coaches would say on the sideline at Syracuse and like in semi-pro, some of the good teams I was on, they're like, get a few mental reps, CJ. Like when I get tired and come out, they go, get a few minutes, meaning they want me to stay dialed in, watch the guy go. When I went to Syracuse, I was like, scout team because I was not a scholarship athlete. They don't let you get the much love, you're just there to help. You're a body bag, basically. You're a tackle dummy that can run. So but
it's a very important role, though. It's
yes,
a very important role.
People would huddle up. It's the iron sharpens iron role. People would huddle up for the call, and Donovan McNabb would give the call, and I'd be like leaning in over top of everybody's shoulders, just listening. And there was one particular play where there's a guy who was like a second-year player, and they called the play, and they go break, and I go out to the right, about 5 yards, 6 yards from the end of the line of scrimmage, and I line up like I'm a couple of yards back, 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage because I can't interfere with the play. And the tight end went to the other side. And I'm sitting there going, no, I'm right. I stayed there. And the coach goes, where's Aiden? Hey, he looks over, he goes, 49, get over here. You see where 49 is? He goes, line up on the line in front of him. How come he knows where to go and you don't know where to go? I was just like, because I took those mental reps. Now, the VR thing is another level. When I played semi-pro, first started playing when I was 22 years old was the first time I put on pads. I was playing Bill Walsh college football and Madden, and it was like 95, I think. That was the first year they ever had all around instant replay. So you could look at the play you could take the camera and spin it around all the way around the play. And I would go to practice and they would install a play. I'm looking at it and they go, I'll get the playbook at the end of the day, coach. He goes, okay, no, I'm going to watch the guys do it. I'm not going to look at the sheets. Didn't mean anything to me. The X's and the O's. I'd seen them before in like TV shows, but without John Madden explaining, I didn't know what the hell I was looking at. And I was like, I'm going to go home because I'm going to run the play in Bill Walsh college football. And when the counter draw goes for 30 yards, I'm going to go back and watch what everybody did. I'm going to watch who pulled where and who hit who. And go, if I hit that guy and this guy hits that guy, then we get this. And okay. And it was like I took like 50 or 60 mental reps because I played like 3 hours when I got home. And the next day, they're like, you're running this like you've been doing this for 10 years. What the hell's going on? I'm like, I told no one. Back then, at the end of my semi-pro career, I told guys what I did because I was not telling anybody, oh yeah, I learned football from video games. I went home and played video games. That's how you guys play them for fun because you love football. I had to learn how to play the game. So that's what I did. So I totally respect and understand what he's doing. And that's like in a whole nother level because you're in the game in VR, which is crazy. You're not getting the hits, which is nice. Schlocks, I want to give a couple chats here. As the days go longer, Dan, I start getting more confident. Reed and shines, and we'll do anything to go to a Super Bowl this year. If we can get Mahomes versus the Commanders, we get LAT.
Pat Mahomes.
I guess it's PAT. Pat versus Cliff, his former head coach. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, I see the Pat below it. True. And then Furious George from Maui Bro. Lamar and Henry, best running backs in the league. Ooh, burns. It's a deep burn. I like that. Joshua will throw a pick and a fumble. Chiefs 30-21. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going around the internet, commentary, one of which the NFL announced in a memo on Tuesday, January 21st, since last year's wildcard playoffs, the Bills have no turnovers in their past four postseason games. Their past four postseason games. The first team ever without a turnover in 4 consecutive postseason games. So, of course, I said, which means, of course, they're going to have 4 turnovers in this game against us.
Yeah, you're setting them up there.
Yeah. Not a brilliant thing to do. Sack wise, let's go to the review screen real quick.
Let's do it.
I'm afraid to go to the review screen because I'm afraid if I go over there, I'm not going to see enough to pull your window up from somewhere in there. No, you're there, but I'm not. It's okay. We don't need me. Let's see here. I'm going to get the window. There we go. That's the little one. Oh, first I want to do this one. Let's do this one real quick. This is from Lil Wayne had a comment. I don't know if you heard about this. Did you hear about this?
I have not heard about his comment. What did he have to say?
So a lot of people are talking about the Chiefs getting the calls and this and that and blah, 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 blah. One such critic was rapper Lil Wayne, who wrote in a post on X, "I hate the cheating as Chiefs. It's not even impressive when you cheat and then clearly try to cheat. Just win, baby," he wrote in a follow-up post. The world was talking about something else during the game. I'm sure you saw some of this, but they were complaining about the refs again, Trav. Jason, his brother, told him. Even Lil Wayne, I hate the cheating as Chiefs, so an ass with 2 Z's instead. Shout out to Tucci, man, Travis replied. Jason then pointed out an X post from Colin Saunders, a defensive tackle of New Orleans Saints, former Chief, obviously, who admitted that while some of the referee calls may have been questionable, the Texans also left Travis wide booty butt naked open for 4 quarters. So y'all might have lost the game more than they gave it to the game to the Chiefs. Just saying, not for nothing. Y'all
wide booty butt naked open for 4 quarters.
Naked,
God, I love Colin.
N-E-double-K-I-D. Naked. Like,
that is fantastic.
Dude, cry me a river if you're not going to cover the best tight end the game has ever seen. And you know how I know it's not just me and bluster and all this saying that he's the best tight end? You know how I know? Because my friend Will, you guys don't know Will and I played semi-pro ball together. Will and I had bragging rights when we played semi-pro ball because he's been a Bronco fan for a gajillion years. He's about 600 years old. Willie, hey, how you doing if you're out there? And it was in there back-to-back. It was right in that time. So I had to eat friggin' crow often, and it sucked. We were talking football the other day, and he's like, "Oh, this happened in this league we're coaching, and what would you do here?" And I would say what I would do. And he goes, "Of course," because he knows I know football. He knows football. He's always testing me because he was one of my mentors as well. When I didn't know what the hell I was doing, playing the game. And he goes, I have a question for you, because we used to have arguments over who was better, Tony Gonzalez or Shannon Sharp, which I was like, okay, you've won Super Bowls. Shannon's not better than Tony. I'm not giving you that. Sorry. Shannon's great. Shannon's not Tony. He said, "Who's the best tight end in the world?" I go, "I feel like this is a trap," I said, "but I also feel like you may have evolved slightly in your thinking." And he goes, "No, it's Travis. It's Travis." I go, "Yes, sir. Good for you. You're able to recognize greatness, and it doesn't have to be a guy from your team." Travis Kelce's doing things like nobody's done, and just when they say he's too old, just when they say he's this or that or the other thing, it's nope. Apparently he's not. Apparently he's still great, and he does things like he did this past weekend. Should have, would have, could have had another 40 or 50 yards. But, let's just take that away with some BS holding call, which was not a holding call.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but that was a bad call. That's my thoughts anyway. See, there's you. Why is it not showing me my, well, you know what? It's probably down below. That's why. Let me pop this window up here. I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to review with you. And I need it up on the screen to do it. It's not going to show me otherwise. Here we go. Boink. Give us a second here, folks. First time in the new lab. Let's show Hong Forest really quickly. A big screen and little screen at the same time. You can go back and watch this later, Hong. It's good for your ego. There we go. Okay, we got it. My moderator figured it out. Good job, Danilo. It's my moderator, Danilo. He's good people. I'll meet him someday. Let's see here. Oh, the other one I wanted to touch on was this video right here. I don't know if you guys saw this. This is from the Pat McAfee show. And he had former Texan J.J. Watt on. And what do you think J.J. Watt had to say about the calls in the game, Hong Forest? Well, before you answer, you may be surprised. So let's hear what the two-time former defensive
let's
player of the
hear
year had to say about the
Storyline of this game is the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, and the refs want the Chiefs to win. As a Houston Texans homer, as a citizen, I believe, of Houston now, as a guy who's in the Bull Ring of Honor in Houston, what were your thoughts on how the stripes worked and calls like this happen, and where Patrick Mahomes almost lost his entire skull?
Damn it.
And everybody said, and then he's flopping on the sideline as the face of football. Age, what was your big takeaway?
If you're not seeing it, Hong, the one that everybody's saying that wasn't a call, the one where he like half slides and they go down. The dude's like launching his elbow at Patrick's head, and they both dove head first at him. And people are trying to say, "Oh, that's not really okay." Relax, people. Like
from the chatter that followed this convo, which is the Chiefs are in bed with the refs, and it's very obvious, which is pretty much
the visual.
sentiment.
I just don't have the call. I don't have the audio, but I remember that.
Age or
play.
Jage?
Jage.
Sorry, you said Age.
Jage.
Oh,
And
me.
then this one where I was like, "Oh,
That is confusing, though. A couple J's left.
The two calls everybody's talking about, I think, are justifiably talked about. I think that they're legitimate. I think it was great how Troy called them out. I think that was all great. I also think it's absolutely absurd that they've come out after the fact and said, no, we made those calls correctly. Like, let's just, like, the whole country agreed. Like, let's not, don't even get into that. Now, what I will say is Pat is notorious for knowing how to take full advantage of the rules. Like he's a great quarterback because he does everything great, not just on the field playing and everything, but he also knows how to take full advantage. He'll slide late. He'll stay tightrope along the sidelines and make you hit him so it looks like he's out of bounds. He'll do all these things. Don't blame him for that one bit. I would do it too if they were giving me the calls. To me, that's more on the refs, which is why I was happy to see that they didn't throw a flag on that sideline one, because they weren't going to give that. So hopefully you're sending the message that that's not going to work for us anymore. But those two other calls, the reason they lost the game? Absolutely not. You can't complain about the refs as the reason we lost. We'll see in the next round how it keeps going.
Okay, so JJ basically just said what I thought and what most people with sane, honest minds think. The refs didn't decide that game. Those two calls were legit. The one where everybody's up in arms about on the sideline, I saw the meme going around, the still photo. I love when it's 2025. If you post a still photo and say, this isn't a penalty, trust that Thunder's going to go look up the play and find the actual video. Because I know there's a moment, as an actor, I know there's a moment before and a moment after the scene. Okay? And I'm going to go find the moment before. And, oh, you mean this where they fully extend both arms and push him out of bounds? Mm-hmm. Patrick wasn't supposed to fall down on cold, hard ground and try to save himself from flying into the yardage chains and the Gatorade tables and everything else. If you don't want him to do that, don't give him the shove in the back. And yeah, if he lets up a little bit before he goes off thinking, hey, maybe this guy will shove me like an idiot, it's on you if you fall for it. Okay, should that be a penalty against Patrick Mahomes if you're stupid enough to shove him as he's going out of bounds? Or should it be a penalty on the guy that does the foul? It's the penalty. And then people came up in arms. And yeah, that one again with the Bengals, that shit. Oh, shut up. Go back and look at that play. Look at first of all, look at our running back. Look at McKinnon's reaction because he knows right away. Then look at their tight end. Head goes right into his hands because he knows it's going to be a flag. And the coach is like, what the frick? Arms up in the air like, are you doing? Before the ref throws the flag. So everyone in Bengal country that wore stripes that day knew that was a penalty. And that was BS. And the Bradbury, well, you can't call holding it. Okay, then everybody can hold offense. But offense can't hold anybody. Just stop making excuses. Beat them. Shut up and beat them.
Exactly.
Because everybody keeps making excuses and they just keep taking the championships out of their hands and going, no, we're going to have this. And as far as the penalty situation goes, I wanted to talk about that really quickly. Let's see here. We got, first Super Bowl. Chiefs versus the 49ers. I'm only going to go back to the last four. I'm not going to go back to 1970. Okay. Do you think the penalties were lopsided in that game? Do you recall?
I kind of feel like they were.
Which way?
If I remember correctly.
I'll let you
against
know.
Us.
They were not. The first Super Bowl against the 49ers, the calls were not lopsided. The calls, in fact, were very limited during the whole game. 5 penalties against the 49ers, 4 against Kansas City for less than 10 for the whole game.
Love that. I did not even remember this.
And the Chiefs, and I'll remind everyone out there, especially 49er fans who can suck it, because we got you twice. And we're going to catch you on rings this year. Hopefully, we'll get 5. The Chiefs were down. Sorry, as I told the young gentleman at the Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl party who was laughing in my face at halftime, and I had a good little buzz, so I decided I'm going to educate this young man right now. He goes, halftime, my Eagles are up by 10. Why are you smiling? I go, let me tell you a little something. Let me tell you a little something about 2019 and the Chiefs and the 49ers. Actually, 2020 playoffs, but 2019 season. There's a little over 6 minutes to go. He goes, yeah. I said, 49ers are up by 10. He goes, yeah. Patrick Mahomes throws. He goes, oh, I know, a touchdown. No. His second interception of the game. And he looks at me, he looks confused. I go, and the Chiefs won by 11. I'll let you do the math while I go and grab a sandwich. He's sitting there going, wait, that's 21 point reversal. I go, yeah. And it wasn't like we got 75 penalties called against the 49ers. There was one call where George Kittle got away with one shove, and then the second one, they threw the flag on him. He tried to shove to separate from my boy, Dirty Dan Sorensen, got the flag, got the call back, and slowed them down on that drive. But obviously, we always know Wasp and everything else happened too. But that game was 5 penalties to 4. I'll go to the second one last. Okay. Eagles, Chiefs. Lopsided? A lot of penalties? Few penalties? What do you think?
I want to say there were more penalties in the 49ers and Chiefs game.
Who do you think had more penalties, us or the Eagles?
Us.
Negative. The Chiefs had 3 penalties, and the Eagles had 6. Technically, they had 5 till the end of the game when Bradbury grabbed onto Juju Smith-Schuster's jersey twice. Not once, but twice.
Wow.
Okay? So 5 to 3. So 8 penalties all game until the end of the game. They were not deciding that, hey, maybe don't turn the ball over, Jalen Hurts, in a crucial moment, which Patrick Mahomes didn't do. Maybe score every drive of the second half, Jalen Hurts. Oh, no, that Patrick did that. You didn't do that. Patrick did that. Okay, next one is last year, 49ers, Chiefs. Lopsided, a lot of penalties. Not. Let's go down right away. 6 penalties each. 6 each. There's that favoritism again. Chiefs getting all the calls. 49ers, 6 penalties for 40 yards. Chiefs, 6 penalties for 55 yards. Now let's go to the one we lost. The game in which, if you watch that game with honesty, if you're a football fan, it's just a football truth, and you watch that game and just focus on what the D-line does to Patrick Mahomes in that game, they got away with second-level assault. To the point of Ndamukong Suh, as Patrick Mahomes is getting bent backwards, turned sideways, punching him in the face on the way to the ground. No roughing the passer. Our guys dropping touchdowns in the end zone, hitting them right in the face, Tyreek. And Mr. Williams, I'm not going to get his first name because I don't want to hurt his feelings because he was a great kid for us. Lopsided, Hog, or do you think it was pretty even? Or?
I don't know. I feel like we're on a trend here, and somehow my brain does not recall it this way. What do we got?
Can't forget this. Penalty taking away a great play by our defense to give the ball back to Tom Brady. Flag thrown by a female referee who named her son after the opposing quarterback.
Yep. We discussed that.
Been forced to recuse herself from the game. But no, she was in there calling for her beau, Tommy boy. 11 penalties against us for 120 freaking yards, a field and a bit, and 4 penalties for 39 against the Buccaneers, which a lot of them were like evener calls or like, oh, it's first down, let's give them a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Oh, the Chiefs just got 35 yards, let's bring it all the way back and go back 10 more. Makes a big difference. There's hidden yardage that people forget about. So people that want to say we get the calls, you're wrong. You're just being disingenuous. Okay, it's not true. Now getting on to sacks and their turnovers and things like that. Bills and Ravens. Ravens 2 sacks allowed. Bills 1 sack allowed. Bills actually had to punt 3 times. Ravens never punt once. But they also lost 2 fumbles. And they lost interception. So while they had more yards, a lot more yards, especially rushing, the Ravens had How many more rushing yards do you think the Ravens had over the Bills? Knowing James White's a good runner and Josh Allen does run, you think it was close?
No.
He said it was way more. The Bills had 126. That's okay. That's a solid in a snowy playoff game. Ravens 240.
Ooh.
And they took the L because they turned the ball over. Okay.
And see, when you see numbers like that, a team should not have lost.
No. Now, technically, it's true. Did you know this? Every team that lost had more scrimmage yards than the opponent. But every team that won didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
And the other teams all did.
Crucial mistake.
Now, you can say the yardage thing about the Commanders Lions game. I mean, it was 521 yards to 481. It's 1,000 yards of football, and it's almost right down the middle. So I'm not going to give them a lot of grief for that. However, the Commanders gave up zero sacks. Lions gave up 2. Lions turned the ball over 5 times. 4 interceptions and a fumble loss.
You can't do that.
Can't do that against anybody,
do that.
Let alone this supreme athlete that is Jaden Daniels, giving him chances over and over again. Rams and Eagles, I watched a bit of the highlights of that game. Those dudes put the licks on each other. I think the sack numbers were high. Think about it. Jalen Hurts, Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Who do you think got sacked more?
I watched a lot of this game. It was not pretty. I mean, the snow was pretty.
I think the snow killed the Rams. I think the Rams would have won that football game.
I really believe so. It was not good.
So punts 5 and 4, penalties 3 each. Refs let them play. 2 fumbles lost by the Rams. Sacks allowed. The Rams allowed 5 sacks. The Eagles allowed 7. And every second, it seemed like every second play of the highlights, Jalen Hurts was getting dumped on his head.
Down.
He had a lot of concussions this year. 5 sacks and 7 sacks. But anybody who's a Chief fan knows the title for the sacks this week went to your Kansas City Chiefs with 8 ever-loving sacks. I called 5,
Isn't that
and
the
they got
second
3
highest
extra.
record in NFL postseason for number of sacks?
I'm not sure, but there's 11 total in the game. We gave up 3 because we do still have problems at our tackles, but 8 sacks. I called 5. We got 5 plus George threw 3 more on top. Like, just ridiculous.
Wild.
In this game, we did get less calls against us. The Texans had 8 penalties. We had 4. But I'm going to give that to disciplined back-to-back Super Bowl defending champions. Kids just trying to figure it out and get there. I don't think it was anything to do with the refs giving anybody any benefit of the doubt. If nothing else, after CJ Stroud hurt his ankle a little bit, getting tackled by George Karlaftis, almost getting a 4th sack, I felt like the defense for the Texans started getting a little bit ravenish, started taking liberties on hits on guys. And I was just like, there's hitting and then there's taking cheap shots. But, it is what it is. You take the lumps and you keep on going. And if you don't like it, you don't want the champ to be the champ. You got to beat the champ. Okay, it's as simple as that. I'm going to keep the Bills-Ravens game up there. Look at some stats real quick. In the snow, so, I don't think we're having snow this week, are we? Have you seen the forecast for the Chiefs game?
It's going to be cold, but I don't think it's
I'm sure it's going to be cold.
No.
I'm sure it's going to be cold.
It was cold last week.
Oh, yeah. It was cold last week, and it was colder the day after in Buffalo. Did you know that? It was like, I saw the Chiefs, the forecast for the Chiefs, and it was going to be between 26, low of 10, and the next day was high of 16, low of 0 Fahrenheit. So I'm glad we played on Saturday and didn't play on definitely going to get guys injured in the cold Sunday. Bad enough that it was what it was.
Kansas City's weather for Sunday is a low of 23, a high of 34, partly cloudy.
Okay.
No precipitation at the moment, so
as bad as last week.
We'll see. Not as bad as last week, no.
I wanted to go over a couple of numbers just to give credit where credit's due. Mr. Travis Kelce, already leading the clubhouse going into this game in receptions in his career in playoffs. He's now extended that out to 21 ahead of Jerry Rice with 172 versus 151. He's got 223 fewer receiving yards. And he's got 2 fewer touchdowns receiving, but he's also done what he's done in 6 fewer games.
Right.
Let that register. He's got 5 games to get 220 yards and 2 touchdowns to pass Jerry Rice in every receiving statistic in the playoffs, and he'll still have done it in fewer games. If he does it in the next 2 games, he'll have done it in 4 fewer. And he's a tight end, and Jerry was the GOAT wide receiver.
Right.
I love this stuff. I love this rarefied air we're seeing, and this guy just keeps on doing it. He keeps on chopping wood every week, every game. I want to look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers really quickly. Total playoff touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes sits at 42. Where do you think he is? I'll give you a hint. He's top 10. Where do you think he sits? You don't see it on the screen already.
Not yet. Pretty high up there.
His college number.
Oh, nice. So he is 5th.
Number 5 all time in the playoffs, touchdowns. 2 behind Brett Favre, 3 behind Aaron Rodgers and Joe Montana. If he gets 3 touchdowns in the next 2 games, if he can get to play 2 games, we want to let's be positive. He'll be second all time if he gets 4. He'll be tied for second all time if he gets 3. So if we play 2 more games, I got a feeling Patrick Mahomes is going to end this season number 2 behind Brady, all time touchdowns in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes
That's
is now
pretty special.
Yeah, he's 5 games behind Brett Favre all time in the playoffs. He's 3 behind Aaron Rodgers, 4 behind Joe Montana, and a lot behind Tom Brady. Tom Brady's got 48. Patrick played 19, so he's 29 games to go to get Tom Brady, who's sitting at 8 playoff touchdowns, which is insane in and of itself. We're witnessing some very special stuff here, folks. If you haven't tuned in to the Kansas City Chiefs this season, if you're new to this channel, hit the like and subscribe buttons and tap the notification bell so you can be alerted whenever we have games and stuff to talk about. Rushing yards, James Cook was 17 carries for 67 yards. Ty Johnson, 5 for 31. Ray Davis. This is the thing we can't sleep on. They have a 3-headed backfield. That's really good. It's not just James White and then Josh Allen, but those other 2 backs can make some plays. They both had much better yards per carry than James because they're less expected to get the ball that when they're back there. Ty Johnson was 6.2 yards a carry. Ray Davis was 7.2. James Cook was 3.9, but he also carried the ball like 12 more times than either of them. And then, of course, Josh Allen had 10 carries for just 20 yards, but 2 touchdowns. So
exactly
2 yards a carry. That's like the tush push. He's got 2 tush push touchdowns, but I think one of them was longer than that. This team is going to come with it. Got to watch out for Khalil Shakur. That guy's fast. He's a problem. James Cook out of the backfield. Matt Collins is sneaky effective, or has been all season. Dalton Kincaid, Curtis Samuel, Ty Johnson can catch. Keon Coleman. I didn't see it, but I heard on the radio broadcast as I was driving home from set. By the way, folks, your boy here to this first acting job of the season already this week. It was awesome. It felt great. I got to watch my team win on Saturday. Thank you. I got to watch my team win on Saturday. I had an audition I had to put on tape after the game, after the Chiefs won. It was an emotional audition. Tears were required. Being upset was required. I hadn't done that in a while. I was like, how am I going to do this? You know what? I'm not going to memorize it. I'm going to read it off a teleprompter. I read through it twice, personally, just in my hands. And I put it on the teleprompter, and then I went and watched the coming home videos. I don't know if you've seen these on YouTube. Soldiers returning home to their families with the movie, with the sad music. 30 seconds of that, I was like, okay, I'm in the right space. And it's just a guy talking to his wife's tombstone. He can't let her go. He's having a hard time. And got it tuned up. It took a couple of tests of like 10 or 20 seconds to get the teleprompter speed right. I did 1 take. That's all it took. And I was like, thank you, Lord, for reminding me of the blessing you gave me and my ability to do this job as an actor. It was rough. It was rough not to be messy sad. Like, men usually try to not cry. So in that video, it was hard to not, go that extra mile because it was like pulling on me. Then went to set the next day. A lot of compliments, felt good. So it was good to be back on the horse and doing that thing. Had a good time.
Love that for you. That is amazing.
And then driving home, listening to the Bills and Ravens beating the snot out of each other, getting back to my initial point. Keon Coleman, apparently, according to the commentators, which I think one was Mike Golick, instigated contact with the DB and then pushed him to the ground to go up to get the ball. And guess what happened? The DB got the penalty for a huge gain. So Do the Bills get the calls more than the Chiefs? I don't know. The Bills get some calls. What happened there, guys?
They do.
Did you see the game? I didn't see the game. I just heard the commentator. I was about to watch the preview before our show started, but then I was like realizing I was running out of time.
Yeah. No, this is the one that I didn't get to watch in its entirety.
The Bills, get this. How many penalties do you think there were in this game, Hong Forest? Do you think it was a lot? Do you think it was little? Do you think there was disparity?
I think there was a lot.
There was a handful for one team. You think in the snow, sloppy, making the mistakes. The Ravens got called for 5 penalties for 43 yards. The Bills got flagged one time for 10 yards in a playoff game.
Wow.
So look out, folks, because I hate to give you some bad news. Let me go over to the primary screen for a second so you can see our lovely faces. I saw a post today from, I think it was Adam Schefter, somebody, one of those guys that likes to post stuff to remind us what's going on. Going, oh yeah, the referees have been announced for the Super Bowl. I'm like, and everybody's commentating, oh, I'm glad we got the heads up. Hey, well, first of all, stop the train. Don't put the cart before the horse. We still got to play the Buffalo Bills. They're not going to be messing around with us, okay? Secondly, I'm like, I wonder who's reffing our AFC Championship game. I know the answer to this. It's a rhetorical question. Do you know who it is? Do you want to know who it is, Hong Forest?
It's the usual suspect. I know it is, isn't it?
For ladies and gentlemen out there who don't know, do you want to say it or do you want me to deliver the bad news?
No, go ahead. Break the news to everybody who doesn't.
It's one Clete Blakeman. And I don't know if you know who that is. If you don't, you're definitely not a Chiefs fan.
The Chiefs Kingdom knows exactly who this person is.
Chiefs Kingdom should know exactly who Clete. Yeah, they should.
Because the second I saw that, I groaned when I saw that announcement come out. I was like, oh, you're like, seriously, again? Like, what is it? What's the vendetta?
1 billion% not happy with this.
No.
Why, you might ask? Well, because. Well, what's the big one? Not the Super Bowl. There was 2 games. There was the one that always bugs me is the there's 2 that I can think of. 2018. This got Chris Jones roughing the quarterback on 3rd and 15. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Clete Blakeman was behind the play, couldn't see the quarterback's face, and when he hit him in the chest, Tom Brady ducked his head back, and Clete called it, and no one corrected it. No one said anything. No one said anything about the fact that, God love him now because he's the Chief, but Joe Thuney had Chris Jones in a bear hug and was trying to carry him away from the play. That's offensive holding. Definitely offensive holding. But that play shouldn't have been cancellation penalties. It should have been 2 penalties on the Patriots, holding and no, 1 penalty, just holding. There shouldn't have been a roughing the passer. We of course know that extended the drive. Then we saw the 2 half fingers across the line of scrimmage because the tackle was 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. No penalty on the tackle, just a penalty on D Ford, reversing interception by Charvarius Ward, costing us getting the ball back, costing us a trip to the Super Bowl in Patrick Mahomes' first year, where we would have kicked the snot out of the Rams in a revenge game because, let's go back earlier in the season to the 105-point game, 54-51 that we lost to those Rams. And who was the referee? Guess again, it was Clete Blakeman once again. Clete Blakeman, who called 13 penalties before against the Kansas City Chiefs, 13 penalties for 139 freaking yards in a game that was one of the most. It was like you're trying to make this game Oklahoma versus Texas Tech and make Patrick the loser, but Patrick should have won by 10 points that game. Patrick was trying to pull and Rob Havenstein, that was the night I realized Rob Havenstein is that guy who gets away with false starts all the time because he got away with one on that play, and we reviewed it on the show earlier this year or late last year, where not only did Rob Havenstein get 2 steps into his kick slide before the ball was snapped, but there were 2 guys that held on that play egregiously. Held Chris Jones and held whoever our other right rush end was on that play. Egregiously held them so that Jared Goff could scuffle and shuffle his way in for a touchdown. Pathetic. But both those games were Clete Blakeman, so there's that. So But I do remember a game last year. I can't remember if it was playoff or regular season and important, where Clete Blakeman was the ref, and he kind of just gloves off. He kind of let them play. So I'm hoping against hope that we get a game where it's just like, play clean. Don't give them any excuses. Hopefully both teams play a solid
call
clean
the
game.
calls neutrally.
Yeah. Or evenly. If you're not evenly, not equity evenly, but fairly evenly, where it's like, if it's defensive holding on us, it's defensive holding on them too. If it's offensive holding on us, it's offensive holding on them too.
But yeah, because it's the lopsided number of penalties where I think we get concerned. Because if you've got one penalty for the opposing team and 9 penalties on the Chiefs, I mean, come on.
Here's one I'd like to introduce to the competition committee. Let me know where you stand on this. Okay. Now, I'm not one for don't call penalties in playoff games because you want to let the guys play. No. Well, somebody's not letting the other guy play. So, however, here's my caveat. Since we review everything, since we have instant replay for everything, since we're supposedly on the horn with New York at all times, if my guy runs a post fade on the right side and scores a 47-yard plus touchdown, whatever, and over here, I don't know, some guy, or let's say runs a post over the middle and jukes out 17 guys and scores a touchdown when he's supposed to be a washed tight end. And let's say over here, I don't know, a wide receiver has got a toe over the line or like grabs onto a guy for like a half second, and it's inconsequential to the play. It made no difference to the play. There's no way it would have affected or he would have stopped that guy unless he was Superman or the Flash. There's no way he was getting in on that action. I would like the rest to be able to go, we're picking up that flag for the spirit of competition, because that had nothing to do with the score. Nothing to do with the score.
Right.
Now, that said, I know that would be a Pandora box that I probably would regret opening, because it would come back and bite us in some way, shape, or form later on. But stuff like that, penalties away from the play are the most infuriating and a big part of the reason why we probably have had more touchdowns taken away from us than any team in NFL history. If you count the number of times Patrick Mahomes has put the ball in the end zone in somebody's hands and they've called it back, it's infuriating. It's every year and it's multiple times a year, and we still win. So, fuck it. Sorry, I'm in a good mood. It's been a good year. It's been a fun season.
You're excited. It's understandable.
Excited. Do you have a score prediction for us, Hong Forest?
I want to say 36-27. But I feel like I want to put the Bills in the 30s though too. But I think I'm going to stick with 36-27. Josh is going to have a really bad day.
I'm going to say
I'm going to put that out there.
Okay. All right. It could happen. I'm going to say 38-32.
I like
38-32. I want to see, because he's a slippery son of a gun. I'm going to say, if the over-under is 3.5 sacks, what do you say?
Over.
I want to say over 2, but I feel like he's going to get 3
We're
or
on
less.
a good roll. I know he's elusive.
I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say 4 sacks.
Okay.
I'm going to say 4 turnovers. We get 4 turnovers, they're not getting more than 28 points.
No.
We're getting over 30. I'm going to say Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins get loose and go off, because they're so hyper worried now about Travis again. Noah Gray's going to be over here going, don't forget about me.
Oh, yeah, he's like, I'm right here.
If McCole Hardman somehow comes back, McCole Hardman is the kryptonite to the Bills defense. He always does stuff that just jacks them up. I loved, how much did you love our kicker not only not missing the game, but being perfect? Everybody's like, this should probably be, he's probably not going to be, he's not 100% yet. They should sit him. I'm like, are you nuts? Are you, nothing Andy has said has alluded to the fact that he's not going to play. You can keep hoping against hope, but as a matter of fact, it doesn't matter, because we'll pick up Matt Wright again or somebody else, and they'll come in and they'll do an admirable job. Do you have a number of sacks or interceptions for it? Oh, yeah, we said 4 sacks or more. Interceptions, turnovers, fumbles, like just say takeaways. How many takeaways are we going to have?
How many takeaways? Let's say 4 takeaways. 4 sacks, 4 takeaways.
We're together on that one. I'm saying 4 of each. I want to bookends. I want to take that ball away. I want to get that quarterback. And if you can get 8 again, guys, I have no problem with 8 sacks, because it's going to take a a
Yeah.
team effort.
I really want us to get to the quarterback.
I was excited about Jalen Watson being back last week. How excited were you about that?
No, he's crucial. He makes a big difference in the game. So it's great to have him back and let's keep him in the game. So
I feel like when
he's
he's
a good
out,
player. He plays really smart.
he won pluses Josh Williams' game. The same way Nick Bolton, when Nick Bolton's there, when Willie Gay was with us, Willie Gay was a different animal. Then when Nick Bolton was gone, all of a sudden Willie Gay's game dropped precipitously. Got a little better later before we let him go. But early on, it was like without Nick out there, it was just like quarterbacks were playing games with him all game long. When Nick Bolton's out there, keeping him on point, Willie was just a nightmare for teams to deal with.
Oh yeah, the duo were fantastic.
Yeah, and then we get Drew Tranquil, who's a fellow Green Dot. So it's like, if we can let Willie go, because if Nick goes down, Drew's the guy. Drew's going to do that job. So I feel like Jalen Watson is that guy for Josh Williams. When he's out there and lets him not have to be the number 2 corner, we get the 2 guys that picked off Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship a few years ago, Jalen Watson and Josh Williams. We get those 2 guys. When Josh is out there without him and Nazee's out there starting instead of being a safe, like Najee Johnson, I wish him well. He makes me nervous when he gets too many playing reps. I'd much rather see him rotating with the safeties. And when he does, hey, bud, I don't know what the defensive play call is normally, but when there's a receiver like Shaquille, what's his name? Shakur, the fast guy, Khalil Shakur, deeper than the deepest man, bro, because if he gets past you, he's gone. You're not catching him from behind. It's over. It's a wrap, as they say. So stay deeper than that dude, man.
Exactly.
Do you know if Cook's going to be back? Have we heard? I should
have
the injury report up in front of me. Let me look at the injury report.
Let's pull it up and look here.
Let's look at it together before you bounce. Chiefs versus Bills.
Cook do not see him listed.
They had a little collision there late in the game, and people were like worried about 2 defensive backs hurt. One in concussion protocol. Uh-oh. Let's see who it is. Is it ours or theirs? Here. Oh, Christian Benford is in concussion protocol for the Bills. Be correct in the pronunciation. Christian Benford, not Beneford. I'd like to get back to the world, where let's forget niceties. If somebody's on a broadcast with somebody else and the one person pronounces the name wrong and the other person knows how to please correct them. Please correct them.
With you there.
I'm never offended. If I say somebody's name wrong, just please correct me. TJ House of Mazzilli, please correct me. Remember that commercial?
Hushmanzada. Yes.
TJ Hushmazood. Oh yeah. House of Vanilla. That guy's career is just gotten into films and stuff now. That was a funny commercial. But yeah, please correct them, because there's nothing wrong with that. Taylor Rapp has got hip. Taylor Rapp got dinged up against the Dolphins last year. Then when they came to playoffs, he wasn't 100%. I don't know if he played or if he just played hurt. But considered day to day. We'll see how that goes. Don't see them. What are they saying about Brandon Codrington, return corner, hamstring? So that's a 3rd corner for the Bills. Interesting. Shane Michelle's he's on injured reserve with a neck. Tommy Doyle, offensive tackle, knee. Balin Spector. Oh, the linebacker Spector's out with an injured reserve. Travis Clayton, backup tackle's out. Interesting. Shoulder. That's a lot. Chiefs injury update for the playoffs. Brian Cook suffered a hand injury late in the first. Was evaluated for concussion. Returned with 4:36 remaining. So he was all right. He got back in the game. McCole Hardman, knee, on injured reserve since December 7th. Suffering injury. 21-day practice window. We opened it. Chiefs have until Wednesday to decide if they'll activate Hardman to their roster. I didn't hear what happened today. We'll find out for you guys before we go. Jalen Watson aggravated his ankle. Okay, no, that was before. He's back. We know that. Let's see here. 2-time Super Bowl champion Jack Cochran is out, injury reserve. Jody Fortson. They still have McCole listed there. McCade Metauer, guard. I didn't even know that guy was on our team. Sky Moore, Rasheed Rice, Spencer Schrader, Marlon Tuipulotu, who's just been getting checks from us all season long, and Jared Wiley, who we all knew about, one of those many tight ends. Yeah, so the usual suspects, the guys we already knew about.
Yes. And
Brian
even
Cook's
with them
back.
being the usual suspects, they were all full participants in practice today. So
Excellent.
of
Including
note.
McCall?
Not McCall. I'm sorry, not McCall because he's not off of.
McCall Hardman news. Let's see here real quick.
Yeah, he's
They were
still
supposed
on
to decide
IR.
today, right?
I thought so, but they
As
might
of
have. I
January
haven't seen
22nd, Chiefs wide
anything.
receiver McCall Hardman out for the season
He's
due to a
still.
knee injury. He would not activate him from IR. Okay. He'll miss the rest of the 2025 season and will not return to action. Ooh. All right,
Yeah, he won't play.
Nico Remigio, you get another chance. How worried were you about that return
Absolutely. Oh, that was a fantastic return. I was going to mention that. If
Wasn't
we
it?
get a couple of returns like that, whew, as long as we don't drop it at the very end
And don't allow them
and not
to
recover it. If we
don't
recover
allow
it,
them to Shakur either, because that dude's a return monster as
Yeah.
well.
yeah.
But one of the guys I failed to mention last week, and I wanted to talk about in a conversation we had, Lexi, who's one of the pundits for Chiefs Kingdom. She had a conversation like before the game on X, and we were all talking about stuff. And I stated the fact, like, we talk about all the replacement guys and stuff. People are like, well, your team's not hungry. Your team's won 2 Super Bowls, this, blah, blah. I said, that's the thing that's underestimated about Brett. Brett does a great job of keeping this team hungry by bringing in guys. First of all, your rookies are all hungry. Your rookies all want to win. You think Xavier Worthy's not going to play the game of his life this week and then play the next game of his life 2 weeks after if we get to the Super Bowl? Of course he is. And the dude's a stud. He's not a rookie anymore, folks. He's in the playoffs. His first season, he put up more touchdowns than Rashee Rice did last year, and he's faster. Okay. And he's got Hollywood Brown on the field with him, and he's got DeAndre Hopkins on the field with him, and Juju's back. Justin Watson is still a deep threat. People that Charles Davis talked about, like, oh, he's not really known as a deep threat. I'm like, are you kidding me? The dude that like multiple times has led our team in yards per catches in the deep threat. That's all they do with him. That and first downs. That's the only thing they look at for Justin Watson. You get 22 catches a season. It's either 12 yards or 50 yards. That's all you're getting. I'm excited. I'm excited about this group. DeAndre never got here. He's going to be on fire. Kareem Hunt watched his team that drafted him win multiple Super Bowls without him.
Without him.
That dude was running with a purpose last week.
His time to shine.
Dude was like, hey, Pop, I know it's your bag, but you're going to have to give me some room here because I'm going to.
Yep.
He was just doing the feed me thing over every time he got the ball. Guys like that, it's like Charles Omenihu got his ring last year, did not get to play in the Super Bowl last year. You don't think he wants to get in that game and earn one? I guarantee you, Josh, you better be on your P's and Q's, buddy. You better cross all the T's and dot all the I's, or it's going to be a long day with that pass rush. George Karlaftis is only getting better. Chris Jones, hopefully, is healthy. People were worried about rest and all that stuff. Chris needed the time for his calf. DJ Humphries needed time. We got guys back. We're healthier than we've been in a while. Haven't lost anybody, knock on wood. That's crucial right now. I feel good about this. We both feel like it's going to be not a huge game. We might win by more than a score. We might actually win by more than So if we win by more than a score and there's no questionable calls, does everyone just get to shut up? Does everyone just get to stop complaining?
No, they won't. You know that.
They won't, of course.
Because I think somebody else said it in the comments earlier already, but it's like when the New England Patriots were winning for the decade or longer, that they were doing so. Because I hated the Patriots then. I liked Tom Brady as an individual and as an athlete, but I hated the Patriots dynasty during that time. And now we're going through the same thing, and it's to be expected.
And now I used to be like, it used to drive me nuts that they would like talk about themselves like everyone's against us. So like, no, I get it now. I get it.
Yep.
You're making the Chiefs feel, hey, fandom, NFL fandom, people who want your team to be the next whatever, you're making the case for the Chiefs to feel like everyone's against them. That's not where you want to live. As far as competition, that's not where you want to set up camp. Let me make you guys feel like you're on the defensive all the time because everyone thinks that you're giving handed things. Ask the Texans if they handed it to them or if they took it away from them. Ask every team we played once we got Hollywood Brown in the lineup. we won every game by more than a score. No more 2-point games. Like 9 points, could have been 11 points. Gave up a safety to not have to let them try to get in our end zone. 9 point. Like, this team is ready to rock and roll. This team is ready to score points. This team's defense plays out of their mind. Their defense is now taking the ball away, now getting to the quarterback. Our field goal kicker is still one of the best in the league. What you got? Oh, and by the way, 15 plays for us. So,
that's right.
Let's go. Bills, you got one of my favorite quarterbacks. You don't have my favorite quarterback. They're both great. One's a champ, one's not yet. Knock on wood. That'll stay the way it is right now. And Patrick will go for number 4. Do you understand, Hung Force, if we can manage to do this again, be the only team that's ever had a three-peat in the modern football era when the leagues have bonded? Patrick Mahomes, likely if he goes there and wins it all, probably going to end up being the MVP of the game. And getting back to one of my earlier points, how insane would it be? You know how they say it's like that quarterback had more touchdowns than incompletions. What if our quarterback at the end of the season has more Super Bowls and more Super Bowl MVPs than playoff losses?
Yeah.
That's what I want for Christmas. Christmas ain't over for me yet. I wore a little Christmas fest last week. You all saw it. All right. I want to win. I want to get to the Super Bowl. I want to take it all. And one thing, I don't care where you stand politically, okay? But one thing that the message from the leadership that's in house now is one of unity, one of togetherness, one of forgiveness. And the one thing they did say that might rub a lot of people the wrong way, hey, America, stop apologizing for being great. Are there flaws in this country? Absolutely. We're human beings. We're a fallen planet. Are there people making mistakes every day? It happens. Yes. Is it the best damn country in the world right now? Is there anywhere else you'd want to live? I can't think of one. I lived in Canada for a long time. You couldn't force me to go back there now. There's other countries in Scandinavia I'm not a 4-season guy anymore. I'm good. Let's stay here where we got some warm weather. We got a little bit of snow a couple times this season. A little bit much for me. I don't like that much now. So in the sense of that, the point I'm making is, hey, Chiefs Kingdom, stop apologizing for being great. We went through a lot of years of struggle. We went through a lot of years of watching our almost, but not quite. We went through a couple Montana years where it was just a big tease. And Montana to this day now admits he should have stuck around. Probably could have won a couple, but it was hard on his body. I get it. I got it. We got the memo. I ain't apologizing anymore. I'm sorry. Our quarterback's amazing. Our head coach, amazing. 300 club, folks. Mount Rushmore, only 4 coaches, 300 wins. Insane and still going strong. Tight end, best of all time. You want to win, you're going to have to take it from us, Buffalo. And I want to show you this video really quick before you go. The last thing I want to put up, I can't not show this. I'm hoping it was on. Oh, hang on a second. I know I can get it real quick. This is hilarious. This is Chiefs versus Bills. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not gonna be able to find it. I might have to just post it online for you guys after the fact because it was on. Oh, I know what it was on. It was on TikTok, which I think I can get that window up here still. It's on here somewhere. TikTok. It's just a funny thing. It was the reaction of the Bills Mafia when they found out who they were playing. I had to share it for you. You're not going to believe their reaction.
Oh, I can't wait to see this.
It was so good. There's a window where you like. Oh, did I send it? Maybe I sent it. Let's see. Office. Bills. Chiefs. I don't even know how to search on TikTok. Well, let it be the one. There's a few different versions. That goes out. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Let's see here. They didn't take it down, I hope. It was too good. There's so many office clips. That's the problem because the show, I don't know if you guys know this, pretty popular.
Oh, yeah.
I was on it. Humble brag. What? One time. I got to be on there one time. It was fun.
It's one more than a lot of people in the world.
I mean, truth. Just truth. She's just stating the facts.
Well, it's a little
perspective and gratitude.
If your TikTok videos are still stuck,
I don't know how to find what we've watched before. If there's even a way to do that.
If you liked the TikTok, you can go to your liked, the heart section of your profile.
Okay. You ready?
And scan that real quick.
My profile. Where's the hearts? Where's the heart? Liked.
So if you go to your profile, and then it shows your post, of course. But then if you scroll over to, it should be. Let me see.
Bunch of political crap. Maybe it was on Messenger. Maybe I'm in the wrong house altogether. Oh yes, it was on Messenger. So I can go to Facebook, right?
Okay.
Facebook. Like we'll look at a TikTok going, it's not here. I would have found it by now. Okay. There's one. I sent it to my buddy who's a Bills fan because you have to, Mister. Pretty funny. Oh, did he delete it? That'd be hilarious. He deleted it. Come on, man. He didn't delete it. Gosh, you're killing me, bro. You're killing me, Smalls. I think they're all the same on Messenger. Let me see here. One more try. One more try. Confirm. Yes, I'm the same guy. Continue. Yes. I have multiple. Not that. I don't want Instagram. I don't want Instagram. No. Well, we're not going to find it, folks. Sorry to tease you like that. I'm not going to drag this out. I know Hong's probably got to go.
We'll talk about it. It'll pop up now somewhere.
Do you have a heart out, Hong? Do you have a heart out?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Are you ready to go now? You ready to go now? I figured as much.
But you have to find that video later and share it.
I'm going to share it. I'll share it on Twitter for you guys, on X. I want to stop calling it Twitter, but it's pretty hilarious. If you guys haven't seen it, it's awesome. It's coming at you soon. So check out X and I'll put it up there and I'll put hashtag Chiefs Kingdom so you get an alert. In the meantime, hope for the win. Pray for the best. Hopefully there'll be no injuries. Both teams can have a great effort and we come out on top. And
absolutely.
Anything else you want to throw out there before I say the final two words?
Ready for it.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Go Chiefs. Let's get it. Thank you, Hong. Bull says Worthy's going to play out of his mind. I agree, sir. I hope you're correct. Sounds good to me. Boom, boom. Who's Alan Boyar? Bill's over there. Okay, there's a negative Nelly in the chat. Good for him. Clown.
You're the clown, Alan Boyer. You don't know what you're talking about, buddy. You're crazy.
32 with a slight chance of rain according to NFL weather.